This is Cassie. She sold over $750,000 selling print products on Etsy. And what's even more crazy is she's built a top YouTube channel in her niche and has helped over 10,000 people take their first step in selling on Etsy. We met up with Cassie where she broke down how she sold over $750,000, how you can get started, and what she's working on now. I'm Steven from Hello Custom, and this is Cassie's story. So Cassie, I'd love to hear more about what you're doing and how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So excited to have you here and tell you a little bit about my story. So, what I do now, I started a print-on-demand business. So I do Etsy plus Printify. I design t-shirts, and then when people buy them, Printify actually prints them for me. And that's been a really cool experience. I've been doing that a little bit over 3 years now. I started back in 2020 when the pandemic started and I actually lost my job. So that's a part of my story that I feel like I talk about a lot here on YouTube, because the job that I was doing was working for a daycare company. So obviously those were all closed during the pandemic, and so they had to lay off over 1,200 people. And I was one of those. And then I found this one video talking about Etsy and print on demand. And I was like, you know what, that sounds perfect. It's not a super high commitment. I don't have to buy tons of inventory or machinery or figure out how to actually print these and ship them myself. So it seemed like the perfect fit. And I got started the very next day. I know I was telling you before that my husband and I went on a walk that night, and I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna sell t-shirts on Etsy. And he was like, oh, that's nice, honey. Have fun, like that's cute. And I didn't really know that it was gonna turn into what it really has. And it's been a really magical experience. I ended up going back to work in August of 2020. But in that same month that I went back to work full-time after being off for 4 months, getting to work on my Etsy business, I actually made $4,000 profit. Wow. The first month I went back to work full-time. So while I was working 40 hours a week, so it was the first time I really got to see the compounding effect that all the work that you can put in gives. Like, it's not passive income, but it feels pretty passive when you did the work for that money a couple of months ago, doing all the listings. And so that was a really cool experience. And then about a year and a half in, I decided to get into mock-ups. So I also have a mock-up store, which if you're not familiar with what that is, it's the pictures of the t-shirts that you put the design on to pretend it's already made as your thumbnail images on Etsy. And so me and my sister Sam actually create those together. So we bought hundreds of t-shirts and sweatshirts, and we take pictures of them and sell those. And that's been kind of our second business that we started. That one's been really fun. And then I started a YouTube channel. So those are kind of the three things that I focus on. And then on my YouTube channel, I just teach other people my experience and what worked for me in hopes that that'll help them start their businesses.
Wow, that's really exciting. That's really cool. At what point did you feel like you made it?
There's always that self-doubt, those self-limiting beliefs, like, was that just a fluke? Is there any way that this is real, that this is consistent? And I think anyone getting started are gonna have those same thoughts. And so I stayed working at my job until the following June is when I finally quit. And it was kind of silly at that point because I was making consistently more money at my side hustle than I was at my job almost every single month between August and June when I finally quit. And in 2021, I sold about $345,000 in revenue.
Wow.
And that was me working full-time for 6 months of the year too. And so me finally quitting really helped to ramp up our business and how much we were making, which was really, really cool. And then I quit. And then in the following January, my husband quit.
That's so exciting.
His job. How
did you balance having a full-time job and then growing your Etsy business to a point where you did like $300,000 in a month? How did you balance that?
Barely sometimes, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a niece, I'm a dog mom, I have all these other obligations that come up too. Nights, weekends, breaks at work, I had my 3 computer monitors for work, and then I had my laptop for Etsy, and I was like, okay, I'll do a little bit of work, I'll do a little bit of Etsy, do a little bit of work, do a little bit of Etsy. And so balancing has always been a delicate thing to figure out for me, for sure. I'd say while I was working full-time, 40 hours a week, I probably was putting in at least 20 hours of Etsy a week, but I never really timed it, so it's hard to say exactly.
So what motivated you to start your YouTube channel?
Well, I actually never really thought that this is where I was going to go with my time. I started my Etsy business and started doing really well, and I started telling friends and family like, hey, I'm doing this really cool thing, you should try it. And everyone was like, oh, that's nice, but that's not for me. Until I started making, $4, $5, $10, $20,000 a month, and then quite a few of them were like, oh, okay, how do you do that, And so I started giving people instructions over email of how to actually get started, like sign up for this is how you find SEO. And it was just not the most efficient way to help people I know. I started helping my sister Sam open a store, my other sister open a store, 2 of my different cousins, my nephew, my brother-in-law, pretty much everyone I know has started stores at some point now. So I was like, you know what, I'll just start a YouTube channel and I'll start recording a few videos just to help people, and maybe it'll be a little bit of a side income for me as well. And what I didn't know at the time is that it was gonna take over my life, and I really love it. While I started with trying to help mostly just people that I know or people that were in the Facebook groups that I was in, it's kind of evolved into me being on a mission to help thousands of people, and that's been really, really a cool impact to have, to see so many people's lives changed and so many people starting their own businesses for the first time and being able to motivate them and help them through that, since it is a really difficult thing to start a business for the first time. There's a lot of mental hurdles to get over. And so it's been a really, really rewarding experience starting a YouTube channel.
How many people do you think you've helped on Etsy through your YouTube channel?
If I had to guess, I've probably helped at least 10 or 20,000 people actually open their shops for the first time. But the amount of people who already have shops that I've helped, probably, if I had to guess, at least 50,000, 100,000. I'd like to think that a lot of people that watch my videos get good value and that I've helped them in their business. I get comments every single day like, I got my very first sale, my first $10,000 month, I just quit my job. I get great comments like that all the time. And obviously all of that is on them and the work that they've put into it, but really happy to be any little part of that story.
Wow, that's incredible. So if someone's looking to start an Etsy business, would you recommend print on demand as a good starting point?
Yeah, I think print on demand is a super beginner friendly business because there's so little startup that you need to do. You don't need to buy, equipment or tons of shirts. You don't have to learn how to print anything. So if you're just getting into an online business for the first time, there's still a lot of skills you have to learn, like how to design, how to research, but I think beyond that, it's super easy to get into for most people. And you could get started in one day. There's not a lot of businesses that you could start today and even potentially get a sale by tomorrow if you're really lucky.
Yeah, that makes total sense. In regards to startup costs, how much does it realistically take?
You can do it with very, very little money. There's a few things you need, like design software, which sometimes you can find free ones, but the one I like to use is Canva, so that's like $12 a month. You need to buy a few mock-ups to put your designs onto a picture of a shirt to pretend that they're real. You really could get away with buying probably just 4 or 5 really good ones. And that, they'll cost anywhere from, $2 to $5 most of the time. And then if you want to pay for Printify Premium to get a 20% off discount on all of your products, that's like $30 a month. But the one thing you need to know with print on demand is that you actually pay for the product, then it ships to the customer, and then Etsy pays you back. And so you do need to kind of front load a little bit of those order costs. And so for that reason, I do say, you probably should have at least $200 to dedicate to your business just in case. But beyond that, you don't really need a ton because you can start making money and reinvesting that as you need to.
In regards to time, how much time would you recommend someone dedicate to their business to get results?
If you want to have it as a side hustle and more of a hobby, you could do this business in 5-10 hours a week. If you're really wanting to get to the point where you want a full-time income as quick as possible, then you're going to have to treat it like a full-time job.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ooh, thanks.
Real quick, for someone that's looking to get into print on demand, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think something that I did really well when I first got started was getting started the first day that I heard about it and just opening my shop. I see a lot of people spend weeks and weeks researching, watching hundreds of videos and not taking action. And I think that to some extent, doing a little bit of research in the beginning is a good idea because you need to be prepared about like trademarks and other things. But on the other edge of it, you can really overthink things at that point, and then you're like learning, but you're not really internalizing it because you don't know what any of it means yet. So my number one piece of advice would be to get started right away and just open your shop, because you're going to learn so much faster by just making a couple mistakes, doing it, getting going and getting comfortable with it. And then from there, just staying really consistent, because it might take you 6 months to a year to even really start getting any kind of consistent income. If you're not coming into print on demand with some kind of knowledge of what designs even look good, what people like on shirts, what colors go together, what types of graphics to go together, that's something you're gonna have to learn. Just like anything else, most people aren't just good at something the day they start, so don't feel like this is going to be any different. And if you just keep at it consistently every day or every week and just give yourself the space and the time to learn it and get better at it, then you'll do so much better playing the long game like that than someone who just starts and puts 20 hours in the first week and then is like, well, why am I not seeing results?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's great.
Real quick, this interview is brought to you by Hello Custom. Hello Custom is the first ever done-for-you personalization app for Etsy print-on-demand sellers. When a personalized order comes in, Hello Custom will automatically personalize the graphic for you. And if you're connected to Printify, it will automatically fulfill it too. I've included a link in the description below where you can sign up for free. All right, back to the interview.
So what are you working on now?
So now I'm mainly focusing on building my YouTube channel to have a lot more tutorials, and then I actually recently released my first course, the POD Roadmap. So if you are following this and you want a little bit of extra support, I do a lot of group coaching, live coaching calls, and I have over 8 hours of recorded content in order, because I found that a lot of people, when they start, they have a hard time jumping from YouTube video to YouTube video to YouTube video and what's important, what's not. So I kind of stripped back my whole YouTube channel, put it in order of exactly what you need to know, what you don't need to focus on right now, and in exact order. So, you can totally learn everything for free on YouTube. That's how I did it. But if you don't have as much time for trial and error and trying different things, I built that for people to make it just a little bit easier.
That's amazing. And where can someone find that?
So that's on my website, CassieJohnson.com, or you can just check out my YouTube channel, which I'm just Cassie Johnson on YouTube as well.
Perfect. For those of you guys, I'll put the link in the description below where you can find Cassie's free course. Is there anything else you want to, last words or anything else? Or
if you're thinking about getting started with print on demand and you're really second guessing yourself, just do it. You're never going to know if it's the right thing for you or not until you try. And this side hustle might not be the one for you, but there are so many other ones out there. You can be successful at anything you want, but if you never get started, you'll never find out. So just take it from Steven and I. We've both tried and failed at some things and succeeded at others. It takes time to figure it out. So just be patient with yourself and you've got this.
awesome. Thanks, Cassie, for having us. It's been a great day.
Yeah, thanks for having me.